the birth of the Omega. Why does the cosmos choose only one out of millions? There are selected ones, and then there are Omega-level chosen ones. This is not about being unique in a superficial sense. It's about being encoded differently. It's as if your soul was made in a special fire, with a pattern that frightens darkness and stirs old memories in people who meet you. Most individuals are unaware they have encountered an Omega. Why? Because we do not proclaim ourselves. We disrupt silently. We heal unconsciously. We can ignite timelines just by breathing in the room. If you've ever questioned why your life has seemed unattainable or challenging, incredibly lonely and odd, this might explain why God does not trust many people at this frequency. But when He does, the entire cosmos aligns around your waking. So, what distinguishes an Omega-level picked one? First, the signals are not visible in outward success. They appear in spiritual inconsistencies. You are inherently contradictory. You feel both ancient and young. You are simultaneously sweet and scary. You've been through hell, yet your eyes still seem like bliss. You comprehend people intimately, yet feel misunderstood. You cure those who later harm you. You see the broad picture, but struggle with the simplest things. You can stroll through a crowd and experience every emotion but your own. That is not weakness. That is Omega wiring. You are created to experience the collective, absorb the unseen, and hold frequencies that would otherwise collapse. Most humans, that level of sensitivity does not constitute a vulnerability. It is a wonderful filtering system, but it has a cost. Here's the second sign. Your life has been spiritually monitored since birth. You were targeted early on. Your family misinterpreted you. You were frequently the scapegoat, the black sheep, the one who just didn't fit in. You may have experienced trauma that seemed disproportionate to your age. That was not a random event. This was spiritual intimidation. The lesser forces detected your light before you were aware of it. You were assaulted not because you were weak, but because your potential influence jeopardized the fundamental construction of darkness. Nonetheless, you managed to survive. Not only that, but you recalled something. You refused to become numb. There's something inside. You knew there was more. The third sign is considerably more perplexing. You've always felt like you were getting ready for something, even if you weren't sure what you'd say. I'm not sure why, but I feel like I'm here for something significant. And it isn't ego. It's assignment and memory. Omega-level souls are born with encrypted instructions. You may not receive the entire download until your 30s, 40s, or perhaps later, but the emotion is constantly present, an unshakable feeling of destiny, a call that disturbs your silence. And here's when things become odd. You attract nations who train you without your permission. You are thrust into spiritual boot camps, karmic entanglements, and seemingly never-ending shadow labor. Why? Because your future role demands spiritual and elite level preparation. Let me ask you a question only your soul can answer. Why are you often placed in circumstances that need you to evolve to your full potential? Even if you hadn't asked for it? Why are you always being compelled to grow in order to release to a deeper level than people around you? That is the fourth sign. Your progress is unavoidable, and your path is expedited. While others can linger and console, you are pushed, and others can disregard the symptoms of your shaking until you pay attention. It's as if the cosmos won't let you relax. That's because your frequency is crucial. You open people eyes to new possibilities. You are a multidimensional bridge, and forgetting who you are causes entire timelines to stop. This is where we get deeper, because the fifth sign is rarely discussed. You possess spiritual authority that even light creatures acknowledge. You experience dreams, visions, or meetings with forces that fell higher than this world. Perhaps you have been visited. Perhaps you received counsel in times of difficulty. Perhaps you've encountered someone who believed they knew you before meeting you. That is not imagination. That is soul recognition. Omega souls are recognized in the upper worlds. You are monitored, protected, and directed, but not coddled. You are not here to be handheld. You came here to remember your rank. When you do, your presence becomes a spiritual command, not only to humans, but to energies, places, and even reality itself. The sixth indication is seldom comprehended, even by the selected ones. You're not here to belong. You're here to realign. That's why you've struggled with community, especially in spiritual settings. You're too passionate for surface-level environments and too profound for superficial lessons. You can see through systems. You doubt everything. You cannot be brainwashed. You cannot be programmed for long. Even if you cooperate, you are aware. You're pretending. That is not rebellion. That is miraculous clarity. You are not designed to follow. You are designed to recalibrate. That implies your path will frequently be lonely, not because you are undeserving of connection, but because your energy requires truthfulness. Most folks aren't prepared for it. Finally, the seventh sign. You were a living conduit between realms. You had moments of transcendence in which time bends, reality blurs, and something old moves through you, perhaps during meditation, amid heartache, or while doing anything dull. In such moments, you were more than just spiritual. You were the bridge itself. Omega-level selected ones are not simply connected to the divine. They channeled it in real time. That's why your words resonate differently. That's why your quiet moves rooms. That is why you have provoked people just by existing. You did not come to transform the world by force. You were here to shift the axis by being fully engaged. And when you are, the laws of cause and effect will bend in your favor. Not because you're lucky, but because you're following the original source code of creation. So I ask you now, sincerely and seriously, what would happen if you stopped striving to be average and began to embrace the reality of your soul's design? What happens if you give yourself permission to be precisely who you are? Intense, disruptive, loving, and multifaceted. The world does not require greater uniformity. It is time for the Omega-level selected ones to awaken and assume their position alongside others, not above them. However, it was before time. You were brought here ahead of the curve to reshape it. That's why nothing in your life made sense until now. Omega's signature. How to recognize, defend, and completely embody your cosmic purpose. If you're still watching, listening, and experiencing this in your bones, it is not by chance. Omega-level chosen ones do not arrive true by chance. It summons us. You did not stumble upon this message. It is part of the activation. And now your soul has begun to recall. The question is not whether you were picked. The question is, are you prepared to live as if you knew it? Because knowing isn't sufficient. You've been receiving signs your entire life. Dreams, patterns, inner voices, synchronicities that defy explanation, symbols that keep reappearing, and numbers that appear when you're about to give up. This is a divine's way of expressing. We don't forget who you are. It's time for you to remember, too. Recognition is the initial phase, followed by embodiment. That is the transformation. To embrace your Omega nature, you must acclaim your spiritual discipline as a tool for recollection, prayer, meditation, fasting, solitude, writing, and energy work, rather than as a duty or an ego trip. These aren't spiritual hobbies. Rather, they're instruments for maintaining your frequency in a chaotic environment. Omega-level selected ones are not looking to be amused. We are here to transmit codes, anchor visions, and create new worlds. To do so, we need to be clear. Vessels, you cannot afford to live in confusion any longer. You cannot afford to dull yourself with diversions. You are a live bridge between dimensions. A bridge must be sturdy, stable, and aligned. When you disregard your spiritual hygiene, you open yourself up to distortion rather than possession. Only distortion can cause your divine assignment to be delayed. You've undoubtedly already experienced the consequences of neglecting your calling. Tiredness, worry, abrupt despair, and a sense of being alienated from your own spirit. That is not only mental or emotional, that is spiritual mismatch. A misaligned omega seems like heavenly energy trapped in a human delusion. You can't breathe in simulated surroundings. You cannot flourish in partnerships that do not respect your nature. You cannot produce in systems that repress the truth. And every time you attempt to minimize yourself to fit in your energy, rebels, that rebellion feels like pain. But it's essentially your soul refusing to break its contract. You weren't brought here to comply. You were brought here to awaken others by being totally present. And this begins when you stop abandoning yourself. But embodiment need protection because once awakened, you become a parent to both light and shade. You've probably observed that unusual things happen when you're about to make a breakthrough. Glitches in technology, sudden exhaustion, apparitions of individuals from your past, and unexpected bewilderment. That is not random. That is energy interference at the omega level, often known as spiritual frequency disruptors. Your very existence begins to disrupt the grid, and those who profit from maintaining the grid distorted, whether human or non-human, will attempt to drag you off track. That is why you must protect your gates, eyes, ears, time, energy, every conversation, music, every item of media you ingest. It either reinforces or drains your power. You can no longer afford to be naive. You're a cosmic asset. Begin living like it. Finally, complete embodiment entails going into your assignment without apologies. You may not have all of the details yet. That is okay. Most Omegas do not receive the whole map. We receive instructions step by step via intuition and synchronicity. But you know enough to start. You've already identified the patterns. You have already felt the pull. Perhaps you are intended to talk, teach, construct, heal, dismantle, or create. Whatever it is, it won't resemble a conventional version, because you are not here to duplicate what has already been done. You're here to pioneer a new frequency that indicates your journey will be unusual. This means you will have to walk some of it alone, but you will not be empty. You will be filled with flames, the type of fire that only resides within people who remember their beginnings, a fire that not only warms but also cleanses. And when you walk with that fire, your life transforms from a question to an answer. The Omega reveals how to activate your ultimate form and cause global alterations simply by being. There comes a point in every Omega level selected for one's path when remembering must give way to being. This isn't about learning more. It's not about pursuing credentials or learning more mysterious languages. It is about embracing what your spirit already understands. You did not come here to endlessly prepare. You have come here to become a live transmitter. At some point, you must cease waiting for permissions, signals, or someone to confirm your course. You are the sign. You are the message. You are the phenomena that others are eager to see. And when you finally let go of uncertainty, when you truly, courageously, and unashamedly embrace your truth, you don't simply transform your life. You change the overall frequency of the spaces you enter. That is how powerful Omega level consciousness is. It's a walking gateway to enlightenment. But here's the secret reality. Awakening isn't always pleasant. It's painful because when your actual frequency is activated, everything that isn't in tune with it starts to melt away. Friendships dissolve. Careers collapse. Identities disintegrate. You begin to regret the version of yourself who once made everyone else happy. Yet, underneath the sadness, there is liberty. You are no longer performing. You are no longer faking. You are no longer bargaining your truth to fit in. That's when the final form starts to appear, not as something you work to create, but as something that has always existed, waiting for you to cease hiding. The Omega does not come with fanfare. It comes with calm confidence that says, I'm no longer afraid, be everything I am. When you reach this stage, you start to notice something unusual. You don't pursue opportunities. They find you. You do not seek validation. It melts in your presence. You don't attempt to persuade others. You just exist. The appropriate ones are magnetic. This is because you are now vibrating at your natural divine frequency. You're not aiming to be influential. You are influential. You aren't aiming to change the world. You are the shift. Your energy transforms into a tuning fork, realigning others without effort. And the most astonishing thing is that you are still human. You still have shortcomings, bad days and periods of doubt. However, you no longer collapse beneath their weight. You observe them without losing yourself. That is mastery, not perfection, but presence. And that's unusual. That is Omega. Living as an Omega. Level 1 is not a title. There's a rhythm, a frequency that you embody moment to moment, breathe by breath. It is not something you put on when it is convenient, as spiritual armor is. It is who you are. When no one is looking, when the world is asleep, and you are completely awake, sensing invisible currents flowing through time, you understand that even the tiniest of your activities has an impact on several levels. A discussion at a petrol station, a moment of compassion that changes someone's whole path. A limit you establish that disrupts a generational trend. You're not simply living a life. You exist as a node in the divine matrix. Every action you do either increases or diminishes the signal you're trying to send. That is why your awareness must be purposeful. Your presence must be sacrosanct. Your life must become a daily offering to the frequency at which you were sent to anchor. And certainly, the world will frequently misinterpret your speed. Some will complain that you move too slowly. Others will argue you move too quickly. You feel compelled to comply, explain yourself, and diminish your essence so that others can feel more at ease with you. But you will ultimately cease explaining. You will cease interpreting your reality into a language that others have not earned the right to comprehend. You'll begin speaking from your center, even if your words are silent. This is when you become untouchable, not because nothing can hurt you, but because you no longer crumble when it does. You're rooted in something more than approval, deeper than dread. You're grounded in truth. And when you are grounded in truth, you become like a mountain. Storms may come, but they won't move you. They merely polish the stones. Most spiritual gurus are reluctant to reveal their secrets. Is it true that as your Omega awakening progresses, your strength grows more subtle? You do not feel the need to prove or perform. You are not seeking high vibration encounters alone to feel spiritual. You find contentment in simplicity, silence, and presence because you realize something that most people never do. Being is a miracle. Existence is a gateway. You could sit in a room for hours and change the vibe without speaking a word. That is not magic. That is alignment. Alignment is the greatest type of power, not control authority. You cannot dominate reality with force. You control it through resonance. You become a tuning fork for the truth. When you maintain that frequency for an extended period of time, the environment around you begins to adapt to you rather than the other way around. But here is the last truth, and it's a conundrum that only the Omega level soul can comprehend. You are both the messenger and the mirror, the instructor and the learner, the fire and the ash. You will never end. You will never arrive, since your route is nonlinear. It is cosmic and recursive. You awaken others not by being flawless, but by being authentic. You do not lead from a pedestal, but rather from presence. You cure people not by making them better, but by living in a frequency that encourages them to remember who they are. That's the Omega way. It's silent yet booming, invisible yet unmistakable. And if you've made it this far, and your heart is still racing as you hear these words, I have nothing further to teach you, because the truth is already within. You always have been. The only thing left to do is live it. Let me ask you a question that only the bold can answer. Are you prepared to give up your old life in order to discover your true self? Because that is the ultimate gate. That is a decision every Omega must make. You cannot partially awaken. You don't have a good memory. Either you choose to embody your entire frequency, or you remain asleep in an existence that no longer serves your soul. And sure, it is scary. Yes, it will cost you. But what are the alternatives? A life of boredom. A life spent pretending. A life of knowing. You are more, but settle for less. No, not for us. Not for you. You didn't go through this much suffering, seclusion, and purification. Just blend in and survive. You come here to begin a new age, and the period begins when you stop shrinking. So, how do you live as an Omega? You appear differently. You speak the truth even when your voice shakes. You love without attachment and with complete presence. You produce from your spirit, not from a strategy. You defend your tranquility as if it were hallowed land, because it is. You choose who has access to your energy not out of conceit, but out of respect. You no longer fight about forecasts. You are no longer begging to be understood. You move in such harmony with your source that even stillness teaches you to rest when necessary. You roar when necessary. And you make no apologies for either, since your being is a gift. Your alignment is an act of service, and your beingness serves as a pattern for others to awaken. As you progress down this road, you'll find that the environment begins to respond to you in new ways. Not because the outside world has shifted, but because you have. You'll attract people who recognize you before they know your name. Even if you don't intend to, you will inspire others to improve. You will reject those who are unwilling to adapt. Don't take this personally. That is the energy of the Omega. You aren't here to be liked. You've come here to activate dormant codes and others. And occasionally that activation manifests as inspiration. Sometimes it appears to be resistance. In any case, it works. You are performing your duty just by being you. That is why you are exceedingly rare. You are not striving. You are beaming. Finally, remember this. Your presence is sacred. Your voice represents frequency. Your journey is prophesy. You did not come here for followers. Fame and prosperity, although possible, are not guaranteed. You came looking for frequency disruption, for timeline correction, for soul-level recalibration. That is not a trivial task. That is a cosmic assignment. When you take it seriously, the world begins to work in your favor in unexpected ways. Synchronicities multiply. Resources emerge. Allies come. Inner peace increases, and everything flows, not because you pursued it, but because you were it. This is the Omega Awakening. And now that you're here, the world will never be the same.